Hey guys, Brian delivered you the goods here. Just thought I'd return to you for this premiere video for June 30th, and I hope you guys will enjoy this premiere video for the best and worst songs of June 2025 that I got a chance to listen throughout this month, and I'll let you know which songs I deem to be the best and what I'll mention on my worst at the very end. So, you know how it goes. I talk about first the best section, and then I talk about the worst, and now I'll let you know my thoughts on which songs I deem to be on this list. So let's dive into this best and worst songs of June 2025 video. So at number 28 is Alex Warren and Rose with On My Mind. Now this song was actually good. I was really impressed with this one. It is a pop song. Wasn't sure if I was liking Alex Warren singing, but overall, I think it did very well for the execution. So, it's a good track. It made it at the top of the list, but it's still a pretty strong track for how it sounds. That's my number 28 pick. Number 27 is Good Charlotte with Rejects. This one did have its safe moments. I do dig it. But I have critiques with that one because of how the lyrical content sounds. With all my friends, they were insects kind of shit. It was kind of weird, this track, but it did work for the execution, so it's a good track, but some of the lyrical content is a little corny. But for how it is, Joe Madden's singing was pretty strong for the most part, and overall, good track in its own way. Number 26 is Silence with Dead Alive. Now this was another good track, pretty good song in my opinion. Played it on the safe side. I think the lead singer from Silence did very well with his vocals for the most part. I wasn't sure if I was connecting with this one other than the other song that I'll mention near the end of the video. But overall, I think Silence Dead Alive as the new single that they dropped is still a strong track in its own way. Pretty good song, so that's my number 26 pick. Number 25 is Smash Into Pieces with Broken Halo. This was a recent song that came out. Strong track. Pretty strong track in its own way. I think Chris's singing vocals have gotten pretty good. The screaming doesn't come in till the end of the track, but it's mostly his clean vocals that shine in this track, and I really enjoyed that aspect about that track, so that's my number 25 pick. Number 24 is Papa Roach with Brain Dead featuring Toby Morse. Pretty good song. It's the first single in a while since we gotten a Papa Roach single since December of last year. So, December or January. Technically, Even If It Kills Me did come out. It had two release dates for some odd reason. I don't know why. But overall, I think this track was pretty strong in its own way. So that's my number 24 pick. I think Jacoby Shaddix's vocals did very well for the most part. And Toby Morse's singing in the background was pretty solid. Yelling sings. So number 23 is All Time Low with Sucker Punch. Now this was a good track. Pretty strong track in its own way. I mean, the way Alex Gaskars was singing it from time to time with the verses were a little hit or miss with how he was vocally performing in that track. But overall, I think the track did a pretty good job. It's grown on me a lot more. I've come back to this track a few times, and I do enjoy it. So, yeah, my new rating for it's a 4.75 out of 5, by the way. So it is a very strong track, but it's not as strong as the other 22 tracks that I'm going to mention. Now at number 22 is 3 Days Grace with Dominate. Pretty good song, but I just felt this track did have some cringy moments from time to time with the 1, 2, here we fucking go thing. It was kind of cringy how it sounded with Matt and Adam doing the background vocals, and some of the other bandmates were doing that with the chanting "Here we fucking go" thing. That was kind of cringy. And Adam's verse in for the first verse and second verse were a little underwhelming. But I think the chorus, the bridge part, is where he shined. Dominate is alright. So, it's a pretty good song, but I think it plays it a little too safe, this track. And it's good, but it's also has its critique. I have my critiques with it. So that's my number 22 pick. Number 21 is Muse with Unraveling. It's a pretty good track. I think Matthew Bellamy's vocals, or Matt Bellamy's vocals, did very well for the most part. He has his nice melodic falsetto vocals that shine in the beginning of it, but then when he starts really singing in the chorus, it does very well. So a very strong single. I was very impressed with it. It sounded like stuff you'd hear from drones, and that's what I really enjoyed about this. It did fucking phenomenal, this track. So, great track. Number 20 is Yellowcard with Better Days. Now, this was a pretty strong song. I know it came out in late May, but I only added it to this list because I felt, and the other song too that I'm going to mention shortly, I think Yellowcard put out a pretty good song for what they offered. It is mostly pop punk rock kind of stuff, but it works to what they were offering with this track, so very good song. Number 19 is Yellowcard again with Honestly I. Very strong track. I like the violin work in this. It did very well. And the guitar work and drum work was pretty strong in this. So another very strong track that I really enjoyed for this month. Well, to add to this month's songs, but overall, it's a personal favorite of mine. Had to be in the top 20, of course. Number 18 is Bush with The Land of Milk and Honey. Pretty good track. I really enjoyed Gavin Rossdale singing for the most part in this track. This is a personal favorite track of mine. I wish it could have been in the top 10, but it wasn't deemable enough to be in the top 10 because of how it sounded. And it's not one of the best tracks of this month, but it is a very good track. So it had to be in the top 20. So it's pretty strong for how it sounded. I know they have an album coming out in the next few weeks from now, I Beat Loneliness, which, to be honest, is not a great title. But that's the title they went with. So other than that, that's my number 18 pick. Number 17 is Set It Off with Rotten. Pretty good track. It's a very strong one. It just recently came out for Friday, June 27th. And I was pretty impressed with how Cody's vocals sounded overall. And his screaming vocals in the bridge are pretty strong for the most part too. So another pretty strong track, definitely rocks for sure. It's going to be on their self-titled album dropping November 7th of 2025, which I'm very excited to hear that. But overall, I don't want to listen to any more singles they put out because I think this is going to be it for me. I did hear Evil People, of course, in this song. I think I tried listening to Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, but I just didn't want to listen to that. Because I want to be surprised with what I think of the album overall. But other than that, once release date comes out, of course. So, Set It Off, Rotten at number 17. Number 16 is 21 Pilots with The Contract. Very good track. I mean, there's a lot of electronic music in this that outweighs some of the drumming in the track. Like, it kind of is produced a little bit too much. Like, it's good in its own way. It's very strong of a track. I think the concept behind it was pretty interesting, with what they're talking about with Dima and Clancy and all that. So it's kind of the closing chapter of 21 Pilots' anthology, or their lore that they've been teasing for a while about Clancy and Dima. So it's really interesting what they're going into with their kind of storytelling of these characters and all that. And it's kind of the closing chapter, of course, for this new record, Breach, dropping on September 5th. So hopefully it turns out well. I mean, I'm very surprised they're dropping another album after the Clancy album came out in 2024. So I guess they're trying to put out another record to close out this lore chapter of Clancy and Dima's story. But other than that, it did very well, this track. So I commend them for this track. It's a really strong track, and I was there when it was premiering that day at noon on, I think it was noon or 1 o'clock when it was premiering for the contract, but overall, very strong track. That's my number 16 pick. Number 15 is Fit for a King, Begin the Sacrifice. Very good track for how it sounded. I really enjoyed this one for how it was. And it was one of my personal favorite tracks of this month, but it made it in the top 15, of course. It wasn't like the best of the best, but it's very good for how it sounds. So that's my number 15 pick. Number 14 is Dance Gavin Dance with a Shoulder to Cry On. Very good track for how it sounds. I was impressed with John's screaming vocals in this, and overall, Andrew Wells' singing, through the most part, was pretty strong too. It's going to be on their album Pantheon, dropping September 12th. Can't wait to listen to that record when it comes out. I mean, technically I found out this song comes out July 11th, but I'm adding it to this list because, one, I did hear it early, of course, and for that, I'll apologize on my behalf for reviewing it way too soon, because I found out it comes out July 11th. And I was like, oh, fuck. But I'm not going to take my review down. The song's going to be out soon, in the next week or so. But for what I listened to, I was really impressed with this track overall from Dance Gavin Dance. So, Shoulder to Cry On by Dance Gavin Dance at number 14. Number 13 is Between the Buried and Me with Things We Tell Ourselves in the Dark. Very strong track for sure. It is another personal favorite of mine. I really like this song with how it's progressive, proggy metal sounds overall. And math metal is what they call it too. It's pretty interesting. They change up their melody structure with how the melodies sound in this track. Did very well for sure. So I was really impressed with Between the Buried and Me's new song, Things We Tell Ourselves in the Dark, which their new album drops September 12th, The Blue Nowhere. And I'm very excited to hear that record overall. So, definitely rocks this track. That's my number 13 pick. Number 12 is Demon Hunter with Light Bends. This is a pretty good song, but I wouldn't say it was one of the best, but it is very strong for how it sounds. I think they did a good job with this track, for the most part. And Ryan Clark's singing vocals sound very good in this. I mean, I think they're going to be coming out with an album soon. I don't know how soon, but it's going to be out eventually. Probably in late 2025 or early 2026. But we'll find out and see when it comes out, of course. But other than that, that's my number 12 pick for Demon Hunter, Light Bends. It did change its melody towards the end of the track, which was very interesting, but overall, I think most of the track did very good. Number 11 is Starset with Silos. Very strong track for sure. I will regret one thing. When I heard Dark Things, I did put it on my best songs section of the February 2025 best and worst songs video. and honestly, I regret putting it on there. It's a song that didn't grow on me after a while. I mean, it wasn't the worst track, but it is a bad song. It's not very good. It's not very memorable either. It's not something I go back to a lot for Dark Things. Head Over Heels was a bad one too, but this one did a lot better. Silos was pretty good. It sounded like a return to form for Starset with what they were doing with Dystopia and all that stuff. But this definitely sounded very space thematic, and I really enjoyed this track for sure. So Silos at number 11 by Starset. Very strong track. Dustin Bates' vocals did work for this track. Number 10 is Attack Attack with One Hit Wonder. Very strong track for sure. I like Chris's screaming vocals and his singing vocals through the most of this. They do a lot of electronic metalcore stuff, and it does work for what their sound is overall. And I really enjoyed this track for how catchy it was and all that. So had to be in my top 10, of course. It was one of my favorites of this month. Number 9 is going to be Hollywood Undead with Savior. Very good track for sure. I really enjoyed this one. I think Hollywood Undead pulled out a great track this month for June of 2025. It's in the top 10, of course. It's not one of the best tracks, but it is a very strong track and something I really did enjoy. So I think Danny's singing for the most part is very good, and overall Charlie Scene did very good with his singing, and J-Dog's screaming in it was really strong. So this track definitely slaps, meaning it's a banger of a track. Really enjoyed even Johnny Three Tears' rapping in this in the bridge, and overall it had to be at my number 9. Number 8 is Hot Milk with the American Machine. I really did enjoy Hannah's vocals through the verses and Jim's singing in the chorus, and his screaming at the intro of the track was very strong. So I really enjoyed this track for how it sounded execution-wise. And it is on their new album, Corporation Pop, which is now out for digital download to listen to, stream it, and also buy the CD too. Which I probably won't be buying the CD. I don't hate the record, but let's say I thought it was average. But overall, this single was very strong and had to be on my best section of the best and worst songs of June 2025 at my number 8 pick for Hot Milk, The American Machine. Number 7 is Silverstein with Drain the Blood, featuring Rory Rodriguez of Dayseeker. Very good track for sure. I really enjoyed Shane Told's singing and screaming in this track. Rory Rodriguez coming in towards the end of the track did very well for the execution because it changed its melody. That's what I really enjoyed about this track. And overall, it's a definite banger for sure. I really like this track. And that is my number 7 pick. Number 6 is going to be Solence with Where Were You. I really enjoyed this one too. Definitely a favorite of mine. I wish it could have been in the top 5, but it came close to being in the top 5. There was another song that hit the number 5 spot, and this was going to be the number 5 spot, but overall, Solence put out a pretty good track. I mean, the electronics really did take over the track a little too much, but it's still a very strong track with the lead singer's vocals in it. I know it's going to be on their new album, Angels Calling, dropping October 3rd of 2025. But overall, Solence put out a pretty good track. The chorus is very memorable. The verses are pretty solid too, so really enjoyed this track. That's my number 6 pick. Number 5 is President with Fearless, a song that came out earlier this month. Very strong track for sure. I think the lead singer sounds really good vocally in this track with his regular singing and his screaming from time to time. And the bridge part was very strong too. So I really enjoyed this track for how it sounded, and mixing wise, it did very well. It's the second single they dropped as a band, of course, but I think they're going to have an album out later in the year or in 2026. But overall, very good track. I really was impressed with President's new song, Fearless. Number 4 is Killswitch Engage with Blood Upon the Ashes. Very good track for sure. I think basically the lead singer, Jesse Leach, did very well with his singing, and most of his screaming in this track was very strong. It was a song that was about like a fundraiser to the animal shelters and all that. But overall, it was a very good track for how it sounded. And I think this track did work for the execution. So, and the drumming and guitar work was very strong in this track too. So that's my number 4 pick. Number 3 is I Prevail with Into Hell. Very good track. Had to be in the top 3. In my top 5, of course. I was very impressed with Eric's vocals for the most part in this track. He did a lot of melodic singing in this song. I was very impressed with. This is a song I definitely come back to and return to a lot, and it's one of my favorite songs of the month. Yeah, I wish it could have been the number 1, but there's something else that took number 1, which you'll find out soon. But overall, I Prevail Into Hell at my number 3. Very good track. And at number 2 is Lorna Shore with Unbreakable. As the runner-up, I wish it could have been number 1, but I think you know what song I'm going to pick at number 1, which you'll find out very shortly. It's a surprise. So, basically, Will Ramos' screaming in this track was very good for the most part. I think I was very impressed with the breakdowns in this track, with the deathcore breakdowns. Overall, this track kicks ass. So it's definitely a strong runner-up of a track. And overall, sorry, I'm calling my cat real quick. Overall, this track did very well for the execution-wise, and it is almost 5 minutes, but it did very good for how it sounded overall. So, give me a second, I gotta pause the video. Sorry about that, guys. My cat Kittler wanted to leave the room for a moment. But other than that, Lorna Shore Unbreakable is a very strong track, and I really enjoyed this track, so that had to be my runner-up for this month's best songs. And now, at number 1, drum roll please. President with In the Name of the Father. Now I know this song came out May 12th or so, or May 15th or whenever it came out as a single, because I know it was last month's track, but I only added it to this month's track because, one, I added it to this list because of the fact that I listened to it early June. I think it was like when Fearless came out. So I listened to it then, I gave it a shot, and I was very impressed with this track. One of my personal favorite songs of June 2025. I know it's a song from May of 2025, but I only added it to this list because it was worthy to be the best song of May or June of 2025 for a summer release. And overall, President is a very good band for what they offer. I mean, granted, I don't think it was worth them going to Download Festival to only play 2 tracks, because that kind of shortens their performance time. Make it like 7 to 10 minutes of a performance. So it's a pretty quick performance act and all that. But overall, I think President in the Name of the Father is very good, and I'm very excited to see where this band's going to go in their career. And very excited to see how their new debut studio album is going to sound when they have an announcement for it. But overall, President in the Name of the Father is a great track. The screaming vocals are very good in this track. I really enjoyed even his melodic singing from the lead singer. And yeah, had some pretty strong breakdowns. And this screaming in this is very good. So, really enjoyed this track. Definitely a favorite. It has some emotional melody moments in this track. Like, there's like a emotional melody tone to this track that I really enjoyed, and made it sound so symphonic and a little depressive at times, but it did work for the execution. So I really enjoyed this track, and it had to be my number one. I mean, Lorna Shore could have been my number one, but I didn't feel that their song was great enough to be number one for this month. But if they drop another single in August or so, they might make an August best and worst songs of August 2025. But other than that, that is my best section. Now to talk about the worst songs. And there's only 2 songs. So number 2 goes to Scene Queen, L-Shaped Couch. One of the piss poor tracks of this month. I mean, it's not as bad as the next song I'm going to talk about, but overall it's very bad. It was a 0 out of 5, but it's not as bad as the next song. Scene Queen is a terrible artist. Hannah should fucking give up singing, because I don't fucking know why, but she just doesn't shut the fuck up in her music. And as I did that review for that quick track review the other day, hopefully you had an entertaining time watching it, because I enjoyed doing that for you. And there will be a toilet flush on her very soon. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed that review as well. And Scene Queen, L-Shaped Couch is the runner-up to being the worst song of the month. Number 1 is going to go to Kesha, Boy Crazy. I'm not doing a drum roll for number 1. Honestly, because Kesha, Boy Crazy is just terrible. I know it's going to be on her new album, Period, dropping July 4th. 4th of July album, of course. But overall, I just don't give a shit about this song. The production and the auto-tune and the mixing is terrible as hell in this track. And her vocals with the auto-tune electronic vocals sound pretty bad. So Kesha did a terrible job with her singing and all that in this track. And this is not a great song for a single. So, fuck this track. It's the worst song of the month. And had to be the worst song of June 2025. So, yeah. That's going to be it for the best and worst section of best and worst songs of June 2025 video. I hope you had some enjoyment in this video and found enjoyment in this video. It is premiering June 30th. I'm recording it June 28th, of course, because I decided what the hell, record it early, get it finished up, and get it premiered for a midnight release. But until then, I appreciate you guys watching this best and worst songs of June 2025. I did the best I could to make it as good as possible. I'll have more reviews coming out soon, but until then, thank you guys for watching. You guys have a good night.